Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the Room.
This is Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room. Join film composer Anthony Marinelli, who programmed synthesizers for 7 songs on Thriller, and A&R veteran film producer Stephen Ray, who assisted Quincy Jones and was in the studio every day with Quincy and Michael.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room.
I'm Anthony Marinelli with my longtime close friend and co-host, Stephen Ray, bringing you the real stories directly from the talented people in the room with us during the making of Thriller, the greatest selling album of all time. Let's welcome and share stories with loved recording and mix engineer Matt Forger. His vast resume is highlighted by a long, important relationship with legendary engineer Bruce Swedien and iconic producer Quincy Jones. His wide-ranging album work with Michael began on Thriller and continued through everything else involving Michael.
In this segment, Matt discusses the initial slow sales of the Thriller album and its meteoric rise to the top of the charts where it remained for over a year. He reveals how the record company tried to stop the song Thriller from being released as a single or video. 40 years later, thousands of people are still dancing in unison around the globe.
And the most amazing thing, I saw this when I traveled to Japan. I forgot what year I started working in Japan. I think it was 84. I worked with a big superstar in Japan. And there was a thing that they used to do on Sunday afternoons. The Olympic Stadium was built in Yoyogi Park. And there was a little section of the road that went through Yoyogi Park where people would come on Sunday afternoons, and at a certain point, no cars would come through, and everybody who had a song or played an instrument, they'd stake out a little bit of the roadway, and they would perform. And you would hear all kinds of Japanese pop. You'd hear traditional Japanese music. It was just kind of like a open mic night in the park, and there might be 100 or 200, different people that have been practicing, and they're going to practice, and they're going to go out and they're going to maybe do whatever they do, rock, pop, opera, whatever it is. And it's a group of people doing the Thriller dance. And it was like the first time I had experienced it in that context of here are people recreating the scene from the video. Because at this point, you can go onto YouTube and oh my gosh, there's one. If you've seen the one of the prison,
Yes.
Is it Thailand?
It's either Thailand or China.
Yeah, and they have an entire prison yard, and how many people are in that prison yard? Hundreds.
And they're all in sync.
And they're all in sync, and they're all in time doing the Thriller dance. And it's just like, culturally, that has become, it's got a life of its own. But that's what happened to the album. The album just developed this life of its own. So many people don't realize that when the first single was released, "The Girl Is Mine," it did okay.
Right.
Didn't reach number 1 though. Something else, I forgot what was number 1, but it reached number 2. So people are thinking, oh yeah, this album's okay, and then the next song gets released, and it's Billie Jean.
Billie Jean.
And then Michael appears on Motown 25 on TV. And then it's escalating. It's staying at the top of the charts, and it's building, and it's building, it's building, it's building. And then Beat It, of course. And then for an entire year, it builds. It builds for an entire year before they release Thriller as a single and the Thriller video. At which point, the arc of the curve just went into the stratosphere. So people don't realize that for that long, it was at the top of the charts, and it didn't start out of the gate as this huge, enormous, record-breaking thing. But after a year's time, everybody was going, yeah. And, you know, there was a lot of arm twisting to get Thriller released as a single, and to be able to get the Thriller video made, because, you know, there was a lot of behind the scenes negotiating and financial and business and Yetnikoff and Epic CBS. They said, too expensive for us. We can't do this. You can't do that. That's impossible. And they creatively puts Branca they put their minds together.
Freddie DeMann and Ron Weisner.
Weisner and DeMann, who went on to other great things, and they managed to figure out how to get it made and bring it out to the world. And to this day, people will tell me stories, and they'll say, "That was such an event when that came out." I think they said MTV would show it at this time and at this time and at this time. And there was one woman who I met here just in the last year, and she said, "I can remember being in the store in the checkout line saying, 'Hurry up, I got to get checked out because I got to get home to MTV. They're showing Thriller at like 8 o'clock.'" And she wanted to get out, or 9, and she wanted to get home because that's when it was going to be shown on TV. People like lived their life around the schedule of when it was going to be shown on MTV and when they could see it.
You just made me think of something that what people don't realize when you said that is that there were only 3 videos. It was The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, and Thriller. There was no video for P.Y.T. and there was no video for Wanna Be Starting Something.
What was
Beat It?
And Beat It. Well, that's what I said. It was
Beat It.
It was Beat It. There were 4. So The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, but P.Y.T. and Wanna Be Starting Something.
No.
There was no video.
No. In Human Nature.
And Human Nature. So you have 3 singles off an album. Now that would never happen.
No.
It'd be a video for every single.
Human Nature was so visual too. That one
was so visual.
certainly could have.
It was so visual.
Maybe they tried. I don't know what happened with it.
No, they didn't. They never.
didn't?
No.
What a great song though.
It's just one of those things at the time, the marketing department and the department heads, you know, everything comes down to bean counters saying, how much is it going to cost to do this and what's going to be the return? Which is why they did not, after all those singles had been released, they said, we don't even think we want to release Thriller as a single because we don't see it returning.
Right.
And that's to me like, wow, whoever gave the pitch that convinced everybody to, okay, we're going to do it and this is what we're going to do. You know, they deserve a little bit of credit.
The golden goose of all of music.
It
They
changed
didn't
history.
see it.
Changed history.
It didn't show up on the bean chart.
No, the bean counters were like, no, never. That ain't going to happen. But it changed the world.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fabulous.
This has been great. Yeah.
We went off script.
Two thumbs up.
It's
Yeah.
two.
Did you say?
If I had a third thumb,
We have a 6
we got
thumbs up.
we got them all up.
We have 10
We got it.
thumbs
We got
up.
them all.
So we've spent this time. This is Stories in the Room, Michael Jackson's Thriller album. Here with my old friend and great friend Stephen Ray, with the great engineer and mixer Matt Forger, with all his stories, and knower of the laboratory of life, who's moved on and has gotten us through all these great Thriller adventures. I mean, he was the one that set the table for all this stuff to happen. So we're really happy to have spoken with you today.
Thank you so very much.
The table was set every day when we came in the room.
And let's also say, you know, everyone has to use their imagination, think big, have faith in yourself. As Michael would say, never give up. Never give up. Never give up. Follow your dreams.
Join us for the next episode of Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room, with your hosts, Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray. Watch our extended interviews on youtube.com/@StoriesInTheRoom. Audio-only interviews are available on all podcast networks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok @StoriesInTheRoom. For the latest news and links, visit the website, StoriesInTheRoom.com. This podcast is produced by Christian D. Bruun and David Wolf, recorded by Audivita Studios. Additional recording by Ben Rackless. Edited by Jay Spang and Sean Hedinger. Music by Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the room.